4. Orochimaru.
Wasted Shippuden? Orochimaru is like the reason for so much shit. Quick chat, where did Sasuke go? Who is the first time we see Naruto just lose his shit against? So everyone will sit there and tell you that Naruto has wasted side characters, which I'm not gonna lie, it certainly does. But this guy says there's not only 16, but that he has the correct 16. Let's see the 16 characters that were criminally wasted in Naruto.
I would argue that back in Naruto Part 1, before the time skip happened, Kishimoto was very good at balancing out the amount of screen time he gave to side characters. Take a look at the Chunin exams for
He's definitely better in Part 1 than Part 2, but that's by design. Shippuden is really about Sasuke finally getting his revenge, what that domino leads into, and then Naruto will defend himself against the Akatsuki. It's just unfortunate that like Shippuden, not a lot of side characters even shine when they are on the screen. So I am of the belief that characters are underutilized, because it's one thing that, hey, it's gonna have to be more about Naruto and Sasuke. It's a whole nother thing when it's like, yo, Neji just is mid now, Lee is just mid now.
Introduces dozens of pretty important characters for the verse, but after the time skip, Kishimoto kind of runs into a problem, which is he neglects several interesting characters.
Okay, off rip, I mean, she cool. I know you, gal. I really learned about her playing Naruto Storm Revolution on the Wii. She cool. I wouldn't say, oh my god, how did you waste Yuga? Like, you know.
Remember who Yuga was, but she was the purple-haired lady who was Hayate's girlfriend back
That's
in
what I'm
Naruto
saying,
Part 1.
Hayate.
And you may be
like, it's kind of like you had Hayate on the list, like.
oh, you're stretching this list a little bit, aren't you, Daigo? And I guess you could say that for Yuga, because she wasn't that developed in Naruto Part 1, but this is one of the reasons why she's ranking the lowest. However, there were promises here and there that this character was gonna show up more. She swore she would avenge Hayate's death, so that's set up for the future, isn't it? She's probably gonna fight against Baki or somebody from the Sand Village for
Yeah, I don't need a Yuga versus Baki arc.
Choji Akimichi. This is the first entry.
I can see where you're coming from, but how much was Choji supposed to do? He had his moments in the war. He had his moment with Shikamaru and them. He kind of even gets a little bit of an arc. Still, like, pretty fucking relevant in Shippuden at one point in time. Gotta hear this one out. He's low on the list still, so I'm not gonna do too much. But what more, and I guess this is what is gonna be a pattern for a lot of these early entries, what more was this character supposed to do? Especially one like Choji, who does even have a couple moments.
Entry of the Konoha 12 in the list, and you can expect several members of the Konoha 12, because apart from Naruto and Sasuke, the only member of the Konoha 12 who had decent development in Naruto Shippuden was Shikamaru. All others were very much neglected. Several of them didn't even have an ending to their character arcs in the story, which is a crime. Now, what Kishimoto planned to do with the Konoha 12 was actually smart in Naruto Shippuden. He wanted to put every single squad apart from Team 7 into a mission with Team 7 before the pain arc started, to give spotlight to the other characters of the Konoha 12. So in the Kazekage rescue mission, Team Guy joined Team Kakashi. The problem is that Team Guy didn't really have a lot to do in that story. They pretty much just fought against their own doppelgangers, which was one of the worst fights in the anime.
That is the worst fight in the series to me, considering how significant the characters are, and yet it's that bad. That fight is a definition of like, here's your screen time. Oh, that shit sucks. Damn.
Joining Team Kakashi in the Kakuzu Hidan, aka Akatsuki Suppression arc, but only Shikamaru gets anything to do in the arc. Now granted, Shikamaru's arc in the Akatsuki Suppression arc is amazing. Shino and Choji didn't do squat in that arc. They might as well not even have joined the fight there, because they were just watching Kakashi and Shikamaru fight against Kakuzu and Hidan.
There's no way in hell that Choji would have been but so substantial against the threat like Kakuzu, and especially a guy like Hidan who doesn't care about getting his body destroyed. But yeah, that's my thing. I'm gonna move past the Choji section because I'm pretty sure Ino's gonna be next. And Ino, granted, you would think she would just be a little bit stronger, but I just don't know what we're expecting out of some of these characters who aren't necessarily the strongest.
Now, out of the Konoha 12, she's probably the character with the least screen time in Naruto Shippuden. I guess you could say she gets a crush on Sai during the story. That's pretty much the first thing we see her doing in Naruto Shippuden. She goes to fight Kakuzu and she does absolutely nothing in the fight. She doesn't get any character development whatsoever. And I guess you could even say that her getting a crush on Sai is just, you know, character retraction, because she used to get a crush on Sasuke and, oh, maybe she changed over the time skip. She's a different type of person. No, the first guy that shows up that looks a little bit like Sasuke, and she's like, oh my god, I love him. Now, Ino does a couple of things in the pain arc that are kind of cool, but the other characters are much cooler than her. her like her dad.
Ino's a fair one. She kinda is like worse than her dad, so.
It's connecting the entire alliance, which is something very important because the alliance needs to strategize. But the only thing that happened to her to develop her character was her dad dying to that 10 Tails Bijudama. That's it. 11. Kiba. Another kid.
I'm sorry. His fight with Naruto was okay, and all his gimmick was, I want to be Hokage too, and he was like a cocky brat type thing. But then he got humbled against Yukon or Yakon. He got humbled in that fight. At that point, you've written him to be a kind of like high hopes but low power kind of guy. So how much stronger was Kiba going to be, and what story does Kiba tell that you don't get from Naruto? That you don't get from like a Lee or really any person that has any aspirations of being Hokage? You give a side character main character aspirations, that's fine. That's one thing because that can be executed. We know the animes where the side character is stronger. However, when he's like the 15th person with the same aspiration, dog, there's only so many stories you could tell about how Kiba wanted to be Hokage one day and how he still thinks that he's going to keep up with Naruto and them. It was never going to work. It was never going to work with Kiba. I think you have a better case for Ino than Kiba.
Then Kiba does literally nothing in Naruto Shippuden. He's actually rendered a joke character most of the time. Like when Sasuke shows up in the war arc and he says he wants to be the Hokage, and then Kiba's like, no, I want to be the Hokage. And then even his Infinite Tsukiyomi dream is him being the Hokage with his dogs and stuff.
I want to hear what you do with that kind of character. Kind of like if a nigga said, yo, I need to see Yamcha get a major arc. like in Super? What is he supposed to do? You had your fun in OG Dragon Ball for sure, but like at some point, you wrote him as a weaker character.
Shippuden was chase after the Preta Path with his mom, kill a couple of White Zetsus and a couple of 10 Tails clones, and that's it. It's so much wasted potential. The character does nothing. Hinata Hyuga. The future.
I gotta hear this. If Hinata was lower on the list, I wouldn't have a problem. It's the fact that she's like damn near like, what is it, 9 out of 16? She's like halfway there.
The wife of the protagonist needs way more screen time and development than Hinata got in Naruto Shippuden. Hinata had an interesting arc in part 1 where she...
Hinata has like some of the craziest development when she stepped the pain, nigga. One-on-one for Naruto and confessed her love in that moment, which is something she would never do in part 1. What that was all. What is she supposed to do? And then when Naruto's about to give up in the war, she smacked the dog shit out of him after seeing her cousin die. Naruto is losing his shit. Then Obito is talk no juicing the MC. She smacked the dog shit out of Naruto, woke him the up, and they do some of the coolest shit in the goddamn set. Yo, what, bro?
Learned to be a braver person because of Naruto, and she faced Neji, the cousin that she feared so much. Her relationship with Neji was also pretty cool overall, and how it developed after Neji was taught no jutsu by Naruto. So Hinata had a lot of potential, which was practically not used at all. She doesn't do anything but say Naruto-kun up until the pain arc, where she sacrificed herself trying to save Naruto, and that's a very good scene, I'll say that. But it's the only one she gets in Naruto Shippuden. She gets one moment, and that's it. And nothing comes out of that moment. She confesses her love for Naruto, and Naruto doesn't even talk to her after the arc. They don't even interact until the war arc. It's infuriating. They don't...
Because they're not near each other.
Have any romantic development because Naruto doesn't even acknowledge her existence. And then people are gonna say no, but in the war arc, Naruto held her hand after she slapped Naruto out of his delusion trying to give up because Neji had died. This is great development for both of them. Yeah, it could have been if they had done anything about it, and if when Minato showed up 15 minutes
the series ended.
Number 8, Ibiki Morino. Oh, you may say
I know what y'all are gonna say. He's the proctor, all that, but it's not even called side characters. Guys, do you know that some characters serve a purpose and that's it? Dog, he's the exam proctor. That's it. And that's fine. All right, finally a name that makes sense. Yes, Neji was underrated. Yes, Neji was underutilized, 100%.
Unlike characters like Ino, Kiba, and Hinata, Neji had an end to his character arc because he died.
He also does significantly more in part 1.
And his death served to fulfill the end of his character arc and also propel other characters into doing more things. Neji had pretty much nothing to do in the story up until he died in Naruto Shippuden.
Which is why he should have died in part 1.
Number 6, Kurenai Yuhi.
You can actually be on support or against it. We can't have Kurenai be seen as wasted when her team wasn't even necessarily in the limelight all the time. I know the counter argument is immediately, her team was underutilized, her team was wasted. But that doesn't really like change what I'm saying in the sense of, hey, if the team's wasted, why would she be a vocal point? That'd be fucking weird. So one will go, okay, push all of them, and another person would go, okay, fair enough, she didn't really have shit to do, she ain't really had shit to go on. I lean towards the, nah, she's not necessarily wasted more than she's disappointing, because we just never see what this genjutsu specialist is truly capable of. We get told that she is, and she loses that battle. So she's not significant enough to me to be considered wasted.
The only sensei in the Leaf Village that I'm putting on this list, for good reason, right? Kurenai only has one appearance, really, in a fight during the entire series, which is against Itachi.
Yeah, so
and
that
it's
can't be
literally
wasted.
the worst
She only
opponent
has
for her
one
because
fight.
she's a genjutsu specialist, and she's fighting against the strongest genjutsu user in the verse. So, yeah, it's not gonna work out very well for her. But she had a really cool design, a cool personality, and just she was a cool character, man. There was a lot of potential there, and we don't really see a lot of genjutsu specialists in Naruto. It would have been interesting to see it from a world builder perspective as well. Number 5, Anko Mitarashi.
Fair. Easy. Fair. I actually 100% agree. Why? Because they give Anko so many attachments to Orochimaru. They flagrantly call her a prodigy, all this extra shit, and she is just literally like irrelevant. And it's kind of nice to see that, hey, if Sasuke's so strong, another student of Orochimaru would be pretty fucking good. All of Orochimaru's students that we necessarily see, Kimimaru, Sasuke, Kabuto, the idea that Anko isn't even like, maybe she is technically in a class, I don't think she is, but the fact that she's like clearly the 4th one there, nah, 100% agree Anko's wasted.
Or Orochimaru.
Wasted in Shippuden? Orochimaru is like the reason for so much shit. Quick chat, where did Sasuke go? Who is the first time we see Naruto just lose his shit against? Over the first half of Naruto is 9 times out of 10 about this nigga. But then he comes back, just brings back Hokages. What are we doing?
Orochimaru had way more development than most characters I've talked about so far in
Oh,
Naruto
really?
Shippuden. I pretty much like everything that has to do
Good guy by the end of the series, oh really?
with Orochimaru in Naruto Shippuden up until Itachi quote-unquote kills him. The only thing I don't like about Orochimaru in Shippuden is that he acts a lot out of character when he stops Sasuke from killing Team 7, saying
We gotta start reading stories to dumb down why he does this. And I pray when I hit play, he explains. In fact, I'm gonna give him a chance before I say anything.
that, oh, they can help us out by killing more Akatsuki members for us. When in fact, killing the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails would set the Akatsuki back way more because you have to wait for the Nine Tails to recoalesce back into the world. And Sasuke.
It got worse. Why the fuck would they put a target on themselves by the fucking Akatsuki? And mind you, Orochimaru knows more about the Akatsuki. How is it out of character? What about this is out of character? It's just a plan that you disagree with. Nothing's out of character here. It's just a difference in war tactic.
Sasuke was also acting out of character, wanting to kill people when after that arc he was actually avoiding to kill people at all costs except for Itachi. But if you ignore that, then Orochimaru is pretty good in Naruto Shippuden until he...
Sasuke threatened to kill bro. Sasuke felt like he needed to cut off Naruto. It makes a sense as to why Sasuke, growing up in a toxic environment, may be like, yeah, let's just pack up Naruto.
quote-unquote dies from Itachi's Totsuka blade. It's what happens after that pisses me off. Orochimaru shows up way too late in the work, and he's just a plot device to revive the first 4 Hokage. Against reviving the first 4 Hokage, even though the way they used to do that was kind of stupid and came out of nowhere. Oh, I have a mask here that can release their souls from the belly of the Reaper. That's really convenient. But what comes out of the first 4 Hokage being revived is amazing in the story, so I'm fine with it. It's alright. Problem is that Orochimaru goes through character development off screen. I mean, he says he saw things through Kabuto's eyes, and he saw that going through what he was planning to do, which was what Kabuto did. He was just retracing Orochimaru's steps in the...
Oh my god, that just ruins the surprise.
work was the wrong thing to do, and now he just wanted to see the winds changing and what Sasuke would do and how he would develop. That's a freaking massive change of character outlook, which happened off screen. I can't think.
Oh my God, so he just wanted us to know since day one that he was alive the entire time. Kind of ruins it.
Underwhelming way to do it. And also Orochimaru becomes a joke character in the war, which is absolutely stupid, because if you remember when Orochimaru was introduced in the Forest of Death, he was absolutely terrifying, but now he's a joke character. It pisses me off. And then in
would have made more sense than Black Zetsu. Everything would have made more sense than Black Zetsu.
3, Sakura Haruno.
So what more do you want? If you want to say she's disappointing, you want to say she's not as strong, whoop, whoop, whatever. But holy wasted? She saved Naruto's life. She's the reason Naruto had to get meeked up against Sasuke. And if that's a small point, she almost betrays the leaf. She almost kills Naruto. Funny enough, with that I love you shit. Not to mention how fucking strong she becomes. A lot of assistance, of course. She beat Sasori. And then she became like the healing prodigy of verse. Also, punch the fuck out of Kaguya. I have to hear this, but wasted is so like...
Many people say that, oh, just because she is on Team 7 doesn't mean that she's supposed to have as many moments as Naruto, Sasuke, and Kakashi did. Okay, that's a flimsy argument, but I guess...
She kind of does anyway, but alright.
However, Sakura doesn't get what she deserved. She is wasted in Naruto Shippuden. Very, very much so. Oh yes, the premise for the character is that she was gonna be useless back in Naruto Part 1, and then she would develop. And for a split second there, we thought this was going to happen in Naruto Shippuden, because the very first arc of Naruto Shippuden has Sakura as the protagonist in the Kazekage rescue arc. Her fight against Sasori with Chiyo's help is absolutely amazing. Her development there as well, we see how much Sakura's grown. Not just in strength, but also in determination and character when she saves Chiyo by taking a sword attack from Sasori. And then everybody thought, okay, Sakura means business now. After the first arc of Naruto Shippuden, Sakura pretty much is reversed back, turtled herself, and does nothing in the story, kinda. I mean, she definitely gets way more screen time than everybody else on this list in Naruto Shippuden, but that's pretty much by default of her being in the main team. Problem is that she's never...
She gets screen time, but does nothing. Okay. That's actually pretty funny slander. I'll say that.
Really impactful after the Kazekage...
She gets screen time, but don't do shit. That's funny.
Rescue arc.
Not
Tenchi
true,
Bridge arc?
funny.
I guess she heals Naruto once, but that's pretty much it. She doesn't get a lot of development there.
You think this is the only time she heals Naruto?
When Sasuke shows up, she just freezes up and doesn't do squat.
Makes sense.
The Akatsuki suppression arc, she's just kind of helping Naruto out with his training and crying over Sasuke's picture. In the pain arc, sure, she's helping out, and she kills a couple of the summons from the animal path, but she should have had a fight against a path of pain and not Konoha.
Sakura Haruno is a wasted character in Naruto Shippuden because she didn't fight pain. Natsu Hyuga is a wasted character. Same video.
But she should have had a fight against a path of pain and not Konohamaru. And yet the moment she's screaming for Naruto to come back and help them is actually very emotional. But it would have been more emotional if Sakura had done way more and still failed in that arc. And then in the 5 Kage Summits...
Not really. Sure, I guess it technically could potentially add on to it. So I'm not going to say your statement is false, but it doesn't move the needle remotely for me. The panic and paranoia in her voice was because, yo, this is looking like, yo, if Naruto don't pull up, we are actually all going to die.
She has that infamous scene where she confesses her fake love to Naruto, which I actually like. It's one of the character moments she gets after the Kazekage rescue mission. And you could say that's a bad choice, confessing her fake love, but at least it's interesting from a character perspective. But then when she meets Sasuke again, she can't do much again. She's freezing up on Sasuke. Like, make her fight Sasuke. Make her do something more interesting.
So you just said in the same minute that this scene is good because, yes, questionable, yes, you don't agree with it, but it's very interesting. It's a cool dynamic. And then you immediately go, oh, now this, though, this is bad because she didn't fight Sasuke. You want to see that fight? Actually, it's the worst part, right? Sakura! I'm sorry that Sakura at this point in time wasn't a fully actualized character who you then, if she was a fully actualized character or a resolved character, you would have then complained about her not doing much after this arc, because you've done that with every character in this top 5. For example, Orochimaru. Your complaint about Orochimaru was, okay, all the way up until the Itachi Pain arc, he's actually pretty fire, but then after that, so you did just pull a well after this for Sakura. So it doesn't can make sense. Also, the idea that her freezing up against Sasuke, even though clearly knowing that he's gone and he's a up person, just isn't interesting to you at all. That's crazy, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
And then in the war arc, she doesn't fight until the end.
Nah, come on, bro. Chat, why isn't Sakura fighting for majority of the war arc, bro? Do you guys know the answer? Heal, medic. That's not her job. Medic. Why is my healer not fighting? Nah, I do not want to see this nigga play Overwatch. Oh my shit. Hey, some of y'all won't get that joke. This nigga want the mercies. Zamora's in the back line. Oh no. Why isn't Zen sniping? Oh man.
Kills a couple of white sets
Golly.
like Neji and other people. And then finally, when the Ten Tails uses its clones, she uses the 100 healing technique sealing jutsu. And then she gets really strong, but man, she doesn't get anything to do after that because Sasuke and Naruto are absolutely eclipsing her by that point, and it's just much more ridiculous when she says, oh, I'm finally catching up to them when
she gets character development exactly what you asked. She gets significantly stronger. You acknowledge she gets significantly stronger. One of the strongest people of the arc. But you're saying because she's not as strong as Naruto and Sasuke, that no. If you want to go as far as to disappointing, fine. Wasted is objectively not true.
When Sasuke are throwing those massive attacks and Sakura's just punching people a bit harder. But she punched Kaguya, bro! Yeah, but she also failed to pierce Obito's Rinnegan. Like she was trembling to destroy an eye. It's not as
it's a part of her character. Mr. Orochimaru was out of character. It's a part of her character. Sakura is not just a, hey, I just kill people for vibes thing. Even when she understands things, she struggled to do that. She struggled to do that against Sasuke. You've had the same complaint about her, and you haven't pieced together that, hey, that's just maybe the character.
She was gonna kill Obito. She's a medic.
Crazy, right? Ain't that some shit, chat?
What's the problem with piercing an eye with a kunai, Sakura? That was such a stupid writing decision to put her on that situation and make her fail to do so because she needed to fail. Otherwise, Madara wouldn't be able to cast the Infinite Tsukuyomi. So just don't put her in that situation to make her look stupid and useless. Oh my god, it's so much waste potential with Sakura. It's annoying. And she also doesn't have a lot of development romantically speaking with Sasuke. Potential. Yes, they actually do get a nice final scene in chapter 699 when Sasuke taps
this
her
is
forehead.
Fair.
Really
this
nice.
relationship was more rushed than Naruto. This was just random because it was like Sasuke really never implied anything outside of like, hey, I guess he never technically killed, but like, you know what I'm saying? This, I guess, but how is anything he's described wasted potential?
Ooh, Shino Aburame.
Oh no. So Shino is debatably on my list, but at this point, I'm scared. Can I be honest? Before y'all think I'm just hating on him, I can see a world where Shino is wasted. I can see a world where he's not wasted. It's honestly up in the air for me, but I am terrified what he's going to say about Shino.
Shino was such a cool and interesting character.
The reason why Shino's up in the air versus not being an objective yes for me is because Shino's character was always quiet, calm, cool, collected, and had weird ways of winning fights. But when you have people shooting meteors, blowing shit up, there's only so many ways you're going to have the bug man get a dub, right? So on one hand, I see there. On the other hand, you can just add on as to why he's quiet, add on as to why all this other stuff. So I honestly do see a reason why Shino is on this list.
Back in Naruto Part 1, he was extremely strategic in the 2 fights he had against Zaku and against Conqueror. Those were amazing fights, which I've talked about in length in other videos before, such as the most strategic fights in the series video. And he had such an interesting, cold, calculated... Kishimoto promised us that Shino was gonna get more development after the time skip. There's this meta joke that Shino is pissed because they didn't take him to the Sasuke retrieval mission. Like, outside of the girls in the Konoha 12, he's the only character that's not involved on that mission. And that's pretty much the promise. Oh, okay, next time Shino's gonna show up and he's gonna do stuff. And then this character that had such an interesting personality and a very different style to the other characters and had so much potential is reduced to a joke character in Naruto Shippuden. And he gets literally 0 character development. First time he appears, he's just mad that Naruto didn't recognize him and that Naruto recognized Kiba instantly. And then they take him to the Itachi Pursuit arc and he uses a couple of insect jutsu genjutsus to try and fight against Toby, but
yeah, this part is
Konoha
fine.
team
He's
is fighting
actually
as
not
well, so it's
pissing
not
me
as though
off
this
this
is a
time.
major
This is
Shino
fine.
fight in the series. And then in the war arc, he managed to create big bugs that eat through the clones of the Ten Tails. That's what Shino does in Naruto Shippuden. What an absolute waste, man. Making him a joke character, just like Orochimaru, it's such a stupid idea. These are not characters that are meant to be gag characters. They're much more serious. They even have a darker demeanor. I mean, especially Orochimaru, but Shino back in part 1, he could be pretty dark. Just reread the fight against Zaku. He exploded Zaku's arms out of his body, and he was acting absolutely
There's no reason for Shino to just walk around blicking people.
Casual about it. Moving on to number 1, and I think you guys know who this is going to be.
Yeah, this is free.
Rock Lee.
He's gonna go Rock Lee. All right, yeah, that's free. That's easy. Rock Lee definitely is just wasted in the sense of if you're gonna bring him back against Kimimaro to show you, hey, Rock Lee didn't have to retire. That's fine. That's cool. That's great actually. Don't then have him and Neji just be like off screen time in and time out. We never see anything significant with Guy outside of throwing the kunai and things like that. Rock Lee and Neji literally aren't on the fucking screen for a majority of the shit. When they are on the screen, it's implying that if they were there, they could do something, but they weren't there, so they did nothing. And it's just like literally Team Guy is written to just be acing these random ass missions, but we don't see him. It's kind of obvious that Lee probably could have got blicked against Kimimaro. Those are just my thoughts. If you guys want me to do a list like that, hey, go for it. Nah, overall, bro, I appreciate the content, gangy. In terms of liking, I hate your list. I can't do it, but I do it. But shout out to Daigo Knight, man. We reacted to the content. I'm not gonna do all that. It's just anime. I can't like the vid though, bro. I ain't like your list, gangy. I'm sorry. No beef, no e-beef. I just think that list was kind of crazy. Subscribe to the channel and become a member, man. That's where all the uncut stuff is. Follow up the Twitch as well. Take care, stay blessed. I'll see y'all next time, bro. Because you freak ass, bro.